Tell the whole story.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Mr. 2. How are you? Thanks for having me. Thank you for inviting me. My wife's family's business has been in District 2 for now 72, going on 73 years. So I feel a part of the community, certainly. My father-in-law lives over on Avenue E, so technically District 1, but still part of the family. My route of coming down here to Redondo, and specifically to what I call family business, was an interesting one. I met my wife back in 1993 while she was attending UC Santa Cruz. I grew up in the beach town of Capitola, which in a lot of ways is reminiscent of growing up in the South Bay. It's got that same vibe, kind of a beachy feel, in a small town community. My father was the police chief there, and when I met my wife, she took me down there shortly thereafter and said she was from a small town in Los Angeles by the beach, and we came down to Quality Seafood where I met her family. At the time, Pete Draggers Sr., one of the founders, was still running the place, and I was blown away, and I thought it was the coolest thing, to see all this insane seafood and people out there having a great time and enjoying themselves. The mariachi bands were playing. And at the time, I was working for Trader Joe's, and I always thought to myself, over the next 22 years that I continue to work for Trader Joe's, that one day I might wind up here in Redondo running the family business. But as fate would have it, that did happen, but not, like I said, for about 22 years, as I went across the country and opened up the first Trader Joe's in Boston, Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Brookline, Massachusetts. And after getting tired of some long, cold winters in Boston, I decided that I would move to Washington, D.C. and open up more Trader Joe's there. So I opened up the first store in Maryland and a couple stores in Virginia, and lived in Bethesda, Maryland for about 10 years. And then decided it was time to come home to California, and lived up in Half Moon Bay. If you guys know where Half Moon Bay is, it's about 30 minutes south of San Francisco. And I continued to run stores for Trader Joe's there, Oakland and San Francisco, and worked right in the heart of San Francisco up on Nob Hill in a beautiful, beautiful store. But eventually the family called and asked for Cassie and I to come down and take the reins. And Cassie and I represent the fourth generation of family to run Quality Seafood. And my wife went to Bishop Montgomery right down the road, her father to Redondo Union past the 65, if anybody was around 77 years old, maybe you know him, Pete Draggage. And then her mom went to Aviation High, class of 67. So what that taught me, though, was how important, being an experience and customer-driven business is. So when I came down to Quality Seafood, one of the first things I noticed around the waterfront is that it just needed some love. For Quality Seafood to thrive, the entire area needs to thrive. I met Todd shortly after coming down here, and we talked a lot, walked a lot, and one of the first things that we talked about, actually, which finally happened, was the need for there to be, we call it internal and external factors, right? The internal factors of being around a place is, do they care that I'm here? Do they care that I'm in their business or on their property? And the external is, how does it look, right? So we walked around and I pointed out the asphalt on the boardwalk and how it was broken up and dangerous, and you could never clean it no matter how much you scrubbed it or mopped it or did anything to it. And I told them, one day you're going to need to replace this. You're going to need to either do concrete or pavers or something, but in order for this whole place to come together, people need to first see it visually as appealing and then eventually connect to it emotionally. And so I've watched the waterfront transition. The pavers are down, it looks great. The new signs are up, it's great. New businesses are coming in. We are in the process of negotiating a new lease with the city with a substantial investment in our property. And along the way, I decided that I wanted to make my home and my roots and my business foundation in the waterfront. So I partnered up with the California Surf Club. So I help operate the California Surf Club. I act as the president there and the human resources director. And then to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. As Chadwick will tell you, I've had a lot of ideas about what the King Harbor could do, how it could look, how it could feel, and how it could bring people, locals and tourists down to the area for a really enjoyable day, and a really enjoyable time. And when the opportunity came to step in as president, I took that opportunity. And the vision for that is that I really feel like there's a need for events to happen down there, for it to be active, and for it to be a draw for us as a community, and a draw for people that want to visit a beach town if they're not from a place where there is a beach town. And I feel like it needs to be safe, and there needs to be beautification, and I feel like there needs to be activation and just sort of this sense of community. So right away, I started as president on June 16th, and yesterday we had our second meeting, and we're looking at things like the holiday boat parade, which I think is a fantastic event, and I've been down there for the last 10 or so. What has struck me about the Redondo Pier in the area is that there's actually 3 events that day. They always happen on the same day. You have the holiday concert on the pier, you have the car show with Daryl Boyd, and they do the fundraiser for Toys for Tots, and then you have the boat show, the holiday parade boat show afterwards. And all of those, 3 of those events should be a massive draw for us locally. It should be a point of pride for us to come down, and it's the holiday spirit and an opportunity for us to connect and wear, we don't get to wear our big puffy jackets and our sweaters too much in Southern California, so it's a chance to actually wear that stuff, boots, sip some cider and some eggnog. But in order for that to happen, there needs to be more than just those singular, those events that are separate. We need connectivity. We need there to be, a sense of pride, community pride. And I was thinking, we were just brainstorming, but that's a focal point for us, is to turn that day into something special for Redondo, for our community. Connect somehow that concert, that car show, and that boat parade. And whether that's, calling up the local schools and inviting the marching bands and inviting the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts and everybody to come down and have a parade from the pier through the car show to the boat parade, or some way to shape this. We've got a lot of ideas, but we want that to be a hallmark of our community, that it's a must thing. If you go to Manhattan Beach, they have their winter festival, and it's like a huge draw. I don't know if we can get fireworks, but
There's
boat parade, and that's special. Right,
We're the only ones with the marina, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a special thing for
Absolutely.
us, right?
That's right, and so that's one of our key things. We really want you guys to be proud of your waterfront, your harbor, and that's something we'd like to do. We did talk briefly, and we'll see if we can pull it off, but we want to maybe potentially do an Oktoberfest down there. It's a great time of year in Southern California, the end of September, beginning of October. It's fun to be outside. It's beautiful looking out at the Palos Verdes Peninsula and all of that. So we've got some ideas. We're putting together our subcommittees, and we're looking at our budgets. And my job, or my role, or my vision is to bring in as many people to the King Harbor Association as we can, to make it an active association. And to your question, I'm not a part of the Riviera Village Association, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little jealous, because I drive through the Riviera every day.
I wouldn't want to use the J word, but
But I drive through it, and they have a holiday stroll, and they have Summerfest, and they have great lights and beautiful landscaping, and the association really puts a lot of time and effort and energy into making that a fun and it's that internal external experience. When you go into the Riviera Village, you generally feel safe, and you feel like it's well attended to, and it's inviting, and we want to create that